Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome to Coffee Break with Christine. Today we have an amazing artist, artpreneur, she likes to call herself. Her name's Michelle, and she will be joining us in just a moment. Let's see. Here she comes. I love it. How are you? Besides, you look like you're in the Arctic, but you're really in Miami Beach.
Yeah, and it looks like you're getting your hair done.
I need to get my hair done. That's what needs to happen. It's been like, yeah, the roots are just to die for, literally.
Oh, I thought for some reason, I don't know, it just looked like you're in a hair salon. Hi, everyone.
Oh, thanks. No, this is my home.
Oh, okay. Thank you for having me, Christine. I'm so excited to reconnect with
I
you.
know, it's nice to see you. It's been too long. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm just, I've been joking around with my clients online that I just work from home in this new pink fur robe I got from Pottery Barn Teen.
Oh, well, that's good that you fit into it. So you're looking amazing, by the way. I've seen your photos. So I would totally do that too if I fit into it, which I don't. Yeah. So tell everybody about you and your business and all that you do. Tell us all the good stuff. Tell us about your journey. A little bit about your journey. We
Oh
only have a
my.
half hour.
Okay. No, I have a long story, but it's nice to connect with a fellow business coach. So I'll explain what I do.
Hmm.
I am an artpreneur, meaning that I started an art business so I could do what I love with more love and get paid for it.
Hmm.
And I now coach some of the top artpreneurs in the country and around the world to become one of the world's best artist coaches. So what makes them the best in comparison to all the other artist coaches out there selling, cheap webinars and cheap coaching programs that just simply teach, business strategy, is that the world's best artist coaches stand out because they coach on emotional intelligence.
Hmm.
So they are coaching artists on getting to the core root cause of their unworthiness and why they have business problems or why they might be the typical struggling artist, which we have this narrative about, right? And
Hmm.
we have a narrative and an archetype and a stereotype about it because there is some truth to it. Because there's been a lack of entrepreneurial education from the art school system, in which many artists invest six figures in, and then they get out and then they don't know how to start a business or make a return on that investment and ROI
Hmm. Hmm.
like I did, right? So I realized that my business problems were life problems in disguise. I didn't realize that when I had my first art business before coaching, that I was actually being abused by narcissists who mirrored my family dynamics in the wedding world.
And how is it that you came to identify? Because obviously becoming aware of the issue is like a huge thing. I would guess one of the first steps of being aware that this is what's happening. So how is it that you became aware of that's what was going on in your life?
Yeah. And this is why I love the post that you made recently in your grid about boundaries. That it's not just about work and time boundaries. It's about emotional and energetic boundaries and toxicity in your life. Because
Hmm.
I recognized that I had business problems in my first art business when I would sell an art exhibition. I studied curatorial practice, so I knew how to put a really great art exhibition together, and I did art activism. So I did shows about, communities of color, about issues that aren't really talked about in the art world, in the museum world. So I applied that. I was like, okay, how can I get paid for this? And I was like, let me start an arts event planning company where I get paid to make these events in art exhibitions I curated. And the first problem I realized was that I sold an art exhibition for $10,000 and I still did not want to live.
Mm. Wow.
Period.
So what did you do?
So I realized first things first, I looked up the symptoms of depression online. I was like, am I depressed? You know, and growing up in a Latino household, these are things that you don't really talk about. So I looked up whether or not I was depressed. I looked up the signs of being in a toxic relationship, and I realized, okay, maybe I need a coach to help me get out of this, because therapy was not quite working. Therapists tend to keep you in the past. And I needed to move forward. I needed to make money. I needed to make more money. And I wasn't selling consistently. Like, I knew how to sell, but why wasn't I getting up every day to do what I loved? So I hired my first life, love, and business coach. And she was trained as a love coach, as a dating coach. And I was in a relationship. And I remember meeting her at an event, and she did this speech about red flags. I was like, what? Red flags? And now this is the stuff that we talk about all the time, Christine. I mean, you notice, right?
Yes, yeah. I've been there too. Trust me. I get it.
Like, I feel like, 5 years ago, the internet was not talking about toxic relationships, red flags, narcissism, abuse, etc. So I went to this talk and I was like, oh my God, am I dating a red flag?
And the answer was yes, right?
So, so then I hired that coach, and then that red flag got up and left. He couldn't handle me being independent or whatever. And I paid $2,000 down. Boom. I was like, I want to be a coach. I want to teach other artists, especially women artists, going through life transitions, how to build a better business than I did. So she taught me how to sell coaching program, develop a coaching program in the first call. And I quickly became one of the top 2% of coaches in the country. So I sold $13,000 worth of programs in my first month.
Oh, wow.
And I was,
girl.
yeah. So I was just selling to artists left and right. I sold cheap programs for like $500, and I overworked like crazy. Like, I was coaching like all day, all night, every day. And then I neglected myself again. And then I realized, okay, I need to scale. I need to, hire more coaches that help me set better boundaries and recognize how there were still life problems in disguise, being the people pleaser, being, like the therapist in the family growing up, being the parentified child who just wanted to be loved through being of service. So I saw that as another problem in my business, and I was like, you know what? I cannot keep coaching so many artists alone. So that's when I started to realize I need to coach coaches to do this with me.
Interesting.
And they all started to come in, and then my clients started to say, look, your coaching has been amazing. I think I want to do what you do. And then I started to coach them on their coaching programs. And then now I have this new platform called the New MFA. It's brand new. We're still like tweaking it. We're still copywriting and tweaking the message. But basically, it's a directory of the world's best artist coaches. So artists can apply to hire one of them. And 20% of the proceeds will go towards a Black woman artist graduating from art school in debt. And
lovely.
We're trying to replace the MFA system, which is very outdated and very expensive and lacking the emotional intelligence, the personal problems. Art school, they don't teach you how to set boundaries. They don't teach you how to praise your work. They don't teach you how to sell. They don't even teach you how to love yourself.
I don't think any school does that.
So here I am now, and my coaches are doing amazing. One of them just made $32,000 since working with me. Another one has made $48,000. Another one makes about $30,000 a month from a course. On top of like $10K a month in art sales. And another one just sold, two of them just sold $2,000 courses. And these results, these prices are not scary when artists are literally investing six figures into a degree and not making a return.
Yeah. Wow. So let's just shift gears a little bit. So,
sure.
So what has been the most difficult part for you along your journey to entrepreneurship?
Oh my God. Actually, I was remembering that time that you saw me, I was like, oh my God, wish me luck, girl. Like, I'm in a roller coaster right now. I think the hardest part of running a multiple six-figure business is the emotional boundaries behind the downs and low, like the highs and the lows. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
remember being in my business going on this roller coaster. Like, I would hit a high month and then a low month, and then like freak out when I didn't have enough money.
Yeah.
And being so dependent on like my client results and things like that. Then I started to realize that it's to get off that roller coaster is actually to get off an addiction to chaos.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Get off the addiction to chaos. Yeah.
I think it's really easy to, especially when we're first starting out and we're new at it all, to like attach our worth to, to whether or not we're successful, like whether or not we sell. Like, oh yeah, like I sold, okay, like I'm amazing, I'm awesome, and the next month it's like nothing, and you're like, oh my God, I hate this, I'm the worst, and
Yeah.
like just like you said, the roller coaster emotion. Um, how do you tend to deal with the ups and downs, the roller coaster?
Well, I started to look into personal aspects of my life. So beyond business, like I only had 1 month where I sold zero, and that's because I chose to not sell because I was just like really booked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I started to look like, okay, so let's say if 1 month I hit 44K in sales, and then the next month I hit, 9,000, 10,000. I had to look at, okay, where in my life beyond business am I getting my energy sucked so that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not consistently focused, or I'm going back into trauma responses, or just like getting, becoming the underfunctioner again, or just losing track of my daily habits.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that it correlated with my love life.
Hmm. Interesting.
Some of my clients are joining. Hi, Megan, and some of my friends, Mariana and Mel Marie. Yes, I know you follow me. I'm so glad you joined.
Thanks for joining. Yes.
Hi. So yeah, just looking at the personal problems and looking at how the way you do one thing is how you do many things. That's one of the manifesto points that we believe in at the Near MFA. And the coaches understand how to coach their clients on figuring out that. Okay, if you do one thing this way, how are you doing that in your business? Because
Mm-hmm.
your business is a trigger for what you think about when it comes to love and validation. Money in your brain literally is equals love and validation.
Really? That's the
Mm-hmm.
first time I heard that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So if you grew up thinking, I need to do this and this and this to get love and validation, which is removing my boundaries, like people pleasing, like neglecting, abandoning myself, you might be doing that in your business. So the world's best artist coaches understand how to guide their artist clients out of that chaos through basically talk therapy as unlicensed therapists under the guise of life and business coaches.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
I'm sure you do this
Um,
with your clients. I'm sure you talk about personal stuff all the time.
yeah. So it brought me back. So you and I actually met at Candace's book writing event that she had, a year and a half ago, I think. And I finished my book during COVID. I finished writing, and it's about boundaries. So it's called Blondie Without Borders. And I just am going through the editing process now, but I finished writing it during quarantine. And so that's why I've been sharing more about on my page about boundaries. And I basically grew up with none and was the people pleaser that you were just mentioning. And so it's just, but I've worked so hard to transform that and change that and it really didn't even become like in my face noticeable until I became a business owner. And that's when it was like, wasn't getting up to take breaks, wasn't exercising, just work, 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 no stop. And so yeah, so that has been kind of my focus since we met, I guess, because that was kind of the beginning of my journey, right when I had moved down to Miami. So yeah, but boundaries are so important, as you
So,
said,
so important.
and
I love the
especially when you're a
title.
business owner and they come. They will stare you in the face.
They will. But I'm so proud of you for finishing that book. It takes guts to focus
Thank
and sit
you.
down and finish a book. Like I started writing a book and it's very hard for me to focus. So kudos. High five.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it was therapeutic in a way, because I had to write through a lot of my trauma and situations that weren't so good. And I'm like, I actually am going to share this with the world. Like, it made me pause and think about a certain situations and like, do I want this out there? But I think it's important to share your story as well, and show others how you've overcome, um, you know, issues in the past. So yeah.
Oh my gosh,
So
that's what makes you a great coach.
Oh, thank you. I'm learning. I love it. I started a year ago and absolutely love it. So yeah, but I need to learn from you all these big sales. I definitely don't have that many.
It's
So,
possible. It's with the boundaries. It's, scaling. We think it requires funnels and webinars and ads. And really, it's just about sticking to your boundaries and raising your prices. That's how you scale.
hmm.
And yes, Mariana wants to read your book,
Oh,
definitely.
thank you. Well, if you could follow me, I'll let you know when it's out.
Yeah.
This year for sure.
That's so awesome. But yeah, sales is boundaries, knowing your worth, and sticking to your worth. I notice
Mm.
that anytime I decrease my price just because I'm scared, the client is not as ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Interesting.
yeah,
Because, yeah, and they're probably more difficult to handle too. I've come across that. The
yeah,
people that want to pay less are more difficult to deal with.
for sure. And they don't make a return on that investment as quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So my clients who
Interesting.
invest, 3,000 a month in me are making huge sales, signing, $40,000 projects.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking it very, very seriously. And the ideal clients that I work with are very serious about their arts business. Very serious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't fuck around. They are not, just selling paintings for a few $100. They are selling paintings for thousands of dollars, and
Mm-hmm.
they know how to take responsibility, full and complete responsibility for their life, their bank account, their relationships.
That's important. That's an important step for sure.
Because when you learn entrepreneurship, you can make $12,000 this week if you really wanted to. Really wanted to, but you have to set your goals and you have to be super, super conscious of how you do other things beyond your business, how you handle your relationships, how you handle your toxic parents. Right?
All the fun stuff.
Fun stuff. And it's fun. Healing is fun because what's a life like if you go through life living it in complete ignorance?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Perry.
Mm-hmm.
That's worse than not being awake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's better to be woke and to move forward and do it better than the last generation. And
Definitely.
healing is ugly as hell. Like
It's
healing
hard.
from your trauma is ugly, and when you're raising your prices for your paintings or your coaching, you're going to be on the floor crying, like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's what it takes. You got to do what it takes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great attitude to have for sure. Um, how did COVID affect your business?
Great question. And I'm going to be completely honest. So I know a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people suffered a lot,
Mm-hmm.
especially when their business models were dependent on in-person experiences.
Mm-hmm.
My business actually increased in
Oh,
sales
wow.
way more.
Wow.
Yeah. It increased because that's when artpreneurs woke up and said, wow, more artists need guidance in starting online businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not lower my prices for COVID. I was just like, this is it. We can
Mm-hmm.
take responsibility even in the midst of a collective trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the uprisings, which happen on a continuous basis, almost like an emotionally abusive cycle. The way we treat Black people in America is pretty much abusive. You know, it's like love bombing after anger and you know, tears.
Mm-hmm.
um, that happened too. And that's when my Black artpreneur clients started to sell more. And we're like, you know, we got to depend on ourselves, and we got to teach other Black artists how to do the same, because COVID is going to affect you. You know, businesses, you can't depend on them. You can't depend on your employers. Like, it's a risk to be dependent on someone else. When you're dependent on yourself, yes, there's different sets of risks, but you take full
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. Full
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. So I find that trauma survivors actually tend to do well during trauma, because um, whatever emotional neglect they went through, whatever trauma they went through, they know that they got back up, and they know that they can rely on the trauma responses that maybe put them back in survival mode and help them get back up. So one of my clients lost her studio during COVID, and
Oh.
she finished our coaching program last year, and she went back to our calls, and she's like, I gotta refresh what I learned with Michelle. And she picked herself back up, and she made $15,000 in a week selling
Wow.
paintings and um, socially distant art making packages. So she created these art packages for kids and families and dropped them off on porches.
Oh, that's such a great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. So when there's trauma, when there's, you know, COVID crisis, get creative. Use your art skills, use your artist thinking skills and creativity to
Mm-hmm.
recreate your business. And that's the most beautiful thing. That's what we do best. So yeah, I know it's really difficult, but I just say keep
Keep
going,
going.
and remember
Mm-hmm.
your why. Remember why business coaching is so essential. Like, your services are legit. Sales is service. Sales is service. I always tell my clients, sales is service.
And did you buy that lovely pink robe during COVID, or did you have it
Yes.
before?
I bought it during COVID because this is part of my remothering journey. My people like see me talk about all this stuff online. Like, I'm very open about my healing journey. So I have a mother wound coach. Shout out to Michelle Gomez, MG Success Coach. Her name is Michelle Gomez too, just like me.
Oh, I was like, is she talking about herself?
No. My mother wound coach is also named Michelle Gomez.
Oh, wow.
So she helped me fall in love with pink, and I painted my wall pink, and I
I
just
love that
got all
color.
this pink soft stuff, you know, because when you are activating your nervous system, right, that might be dysfunctional during trauma, you got to just like calm yourself down and really tap into your
Mm.
senses and get grounded and focused, and that's how you make money. Like, this is the kind of coaching I do. It sounds really weird and woo woo, but it's all about reparenting, regulating your nervous system, recognizing trauma responses, getting out of trauma responses, remembering your why, and remembering that you matter, that you have an impact, that your art matters, your coaching matters. Like, that's what makes you get up every day, even when it's
Mm-hmm.
hard.
Definitely. So we're almost out of time, but tell us what's next. I know you mentioned what's next for you. I know you mentioned you're starting that community where people can hire the coaches, but tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so the new MFA is the place where you can hire one of the world's best artist coaches. We're going to start a podcast and a blog this fall.
Oh, so exciting.
So you can get the download on emotional intelligence for artists.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to grow into this place where we unlock everyone's inner artist. Everyone is an artist. So think
Mm.
about why that might have been suppressed as an adult in this society that teaches us to be codependent with a narcissist in the White House. Um, so, you know, we're here to inspire, support. I'm getting the IG back up and running after revisiting the copy and the mission. And what's next is I'm going to keep training the world's best artist coaches. I'm launching the first round of the Artist Coach School this August, which is for artpreneurs who have hit six figures, who have yet to hit six figures, or entrepreneurs who want to become life and or business coaches. So I'm training them. So they'll be graduating by November and being added to the directory. And then I'm looking into writing a book on my case studies with artists and why we have the inner artist struggle. Like, why do artists struggle? So I'm going to look at the psychology behind that and present all of my research, and inspire people to unlock their inner artists through reparenting and nurturing.
Awesome.
And sales. And what else is next? I also want to plan a retreat in Thailand for artist coaches.
I saw that you were there.
Yeah, I was there, and that's when I had my spiritual awakening and developed the new MFA. And you know, I turned 30 there by myself and got sick in the hospital and like vomited in a hostel in the middle of the woods in a shipping container for like 3 days.
Oh my God. I remember you sharing that you were very sick there.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
at least the awakening came from the experience.
Yeah.
As bad as it was.
I know. So I wanted to retreat there. What else is, I think I might be forgetting.
Like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have one last question for you. So what's one piece of advice that you would give to a woman that's just starting out, just starting her business?
Her coaching business?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. If you are starting your coaching business, please remember that your coaching matters. Your coaching will change the world. Your coaching is worthy, and it is a beautiful service that is worth thousands. It's okay. It's okay to sell it. And it's not the end of the world when an artist says no. You just move on. They're not ideal. And remember to work with people who really are serious and ready, willing and able to commit to their vision rather than their fear.
I love that. Well, thank you. I lied. I do have one last question. I ask everybody, what's your favorite hot drink? Because this is Coffee Break with Christine. So.
Oh, that's right. Coffee Break with Christine. Okay,
it's okay if you don't drink coffee, but if you do, that's great.
It's very simple. I just do Nespresso shots in the Nespresso machine.
Yep.
And then I froth vanilla almond milk.
Oh, very good.
And I drink that like every day, like twice a day with chocolate covered almonds.
Oh, I love those. They're so good. Good choice. That's a good mix.
Oh, there's my other client, Juliana, joining. Oh my God, I'm so glad that all of you came over. Hi.
Thank you. Well, this will be uploaded to IGTV, and then I also will upload it to YouTube and send you the link after, so people you can post it where you like.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I'm glad that we can do this in our robe, or what I thought was like you like
hair salon.
I don't know why I thought that. I'm sorry, Christine, but maybe you
this is my apartment.
Hair salon.
So funny.
Oh my gosh. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Christine, for having me.
Thank you as well. Have a beautiful day.
Love
Talk
you.
to you
Bye.
soon. Bye.